Hello everyone. This video is part of a series where we are exploring TypeScript's features with the help of a React application. Our main goal is to learn how to type our code better in order to improve confidence and velocity in development. We are currently discussing some more theoretical examples and using the TypeScript online playground to code this, because this gives us a setup that we can directly use TypeScript without having to worry about any configuration. So in the React application, what happens is that we have a few limitations about running vanilla TypeScript files. So I'm using the online playground here. In the previous video, we have discussed the different access modifiers that I can use within my classes in TypeScript in order to restrict the accessibility of certain fields or certain methods. In this video, I would like to discuss inheritance with you. So inheritance is always a between class behavior, right? So what does inheritance mean? And as you can see in this diagram here, we have a more general class animal, which has a couple of behaviors, and then we have a class of cat. Now, a cat should also be able to eat and to move, right? So what inheritance allows us to do is, by using this keyword extends, to actually inherit the behavior of some other class. So because we know that a cat is an animal, then we can extend this animal class in the cat class, and we will inherit the eat and the move behavior. Let's erase this example here, and let's try this in the code editor. So we have a class which is called animal, and we know that an animal can eat. As we said here, whenever we implement the eat behavior, we will just console.log tasty, right? Tasty, like so. And here I will type the return. Even though TypeScript can infer that based on the code, I will make it explicit. And we also have the move behavior. Once I have the move behavior, I'll simply say console.log moving, right? Moving, like so. Now, if I want to create a new instance of my animal class, I can do so. So let's say const cat is going to be a new animal. So now my cat can definitely eat, right? So the cat can eat, and if I execute this function, then it's going to print tasty. However, the cat has its own behaviors. And as you can see, a cat can also meow. Now, the meow is not really an animal behavior, because not every animal can meow. For example, a dog can bark, but a cat can meow, right? I don't know what's the exact verb for this, but meow is the sound that it makes. That's why I put it here. So if I went back to my code and I tried cat.meow, like so, I think I wrote it exactly, then this is not going to be allowed, right? Because the animal class cannot meow. In addition to that, cats are very lazy. So if the normal animal will normally move while it is, or when I call the move method, the cats are they're not going to move. They're going to stay in their same position, right? So instead of printing moving to the console, every time I call cat.move, for example, I would like not to print moving, but to print nope, not moving, right? So let's implement this additional class, or this subclass called cat, which is going to extend the behavior of the animal class. And I will add a new method here. I'll say that the cat can meow. And once they meow, I'll just console.log meow, like so. Right, so now if I, instead of creating a new animal, I create a new cat, as you can see, the cat can still eat and move even though I haven't declared the methods here. And why is it so? It's because it's inheriting the behavior from the superclass animal. So if I execute this code, it's exactly the same. It will print tasty and then moving, right? So I'll just remove this, we'll clear the console, I add it again, and we execute. As you can see, it's printing tasty and moving. However, we also want to change the behavior of the move method. And we can do so by making use of what is called overriding a certain method. So when I declare a method with exactly the same arguments and return type as that of the superclass, then I can redefine its behavior within my subclass. So here I would like to print nopes, not moving, right? So now let's see what the console is going to show us. If I execute this code, now the cat.move does not print moving anymore. It actually prints nopes, not moving, right? So this is how we can use inheritance between classes. Let me see if I can add a text here. So this inheritance, it normally represents a is a relationship. So what does a is a relationship mean? Is a simply means that every cat is a animal, right? So another example of extension is that I can also create a dog. So the dog class is going to also extend the animal class, and then the dog can bark, right? The dog can bark. So it's going to say console.dog bark, and move, instead of printing nopes, not moving, the dogs are normally jumping around, right? So I'll just write jumping around, like so. And now I can create an arrow here. This is just used to represent inheritance, right? This empty arrow like so. And now we say that, or maybe I can just move this to the side. I mean, it doesn't really matter, like so, it's also fine. So we can also say that the class dog extends the class animal, right? So if I come back to my code here, let's write this down a little bit. So we will write the class definition here. Class dog extends animal, and we will say bark. It's going to return a void, and I will say console.log bark. And for the move method, I will also use overriding, and I will say console.log jumping around. Great. Now let's create a new instance of a dog. Const dog is equal to new dog. So my dog can also eat. I will write it here. Let's say console.log, put a couple of dashes just to separate, and then we'll say dog.eat, right? Now we can also say dog.bark, and we can also say dog.move, like so. Now, as you can see, the move method is going to be different. So there you go. We have jumping around, we have bark, and the tasty when we are eating is the same behavior, right? Of course, because my dog class is not a cat, then I don't have access to the meow method. So I cannot do, for example, dog.meow, right? This is a method that is specific to the cat class. And the same on the same lines, I cannot do cat.bark. This is also not possible, right? So this is the basic idea of inheritance. Now you may be wondering, okay, can I go one step further and can I create another class that is going to inherit from dog? Well, yes, you could create. So let's say some specific brand, pug, right? That animal that doesn't have a nose. Class pug extends dog, and now it can bark. It is going to say bark as well. When you move, it is going to be jumping around. But now, oops, sorry. Let me just fix this. Now, when we say sniff, right? So the behavior sniff around. Then we want to, oops, here I just need to add a little bit better the formatting. Let me increase the size here. Exactly. Now I want to delete this and add it here. So once the dog sniffs, I will console.log sniff, sniff, right? So that's not the dog, but it's the pug. So only the pug can sniff around, and we will say that the pug is then going to be extending the dog class. Okay, like so. So let's give it a try. Here we can create class pug extends dog, and we will say that the bark and the move are exactly the same, so we can remove them from here, from the pug definition, and we just need to define the sniff method. So sniff console.log sniff sniff, right? So now if I were to come down here, I will add another console.log with a couple of dashes, and I'll create a new instance of my pug, new pug, and we will say pug.eat is possible, pug.move is possible, pug.bark is possible, and pug.sniff is also possible. And even more interesting, if you stop to have a look at the annotations here on the right side, you can see from which specific class this behavior is being derived from. So the dog or the move method is coming from the dog class, the eat method is coming from the animal class, the bark method is coming from the dog class, and the sniff method is coming from the pug class. Now, we also defined move in the animal class, but by overriding the behavior within the dog class, then we will say, or it is recognized that the inherited behavior is always the, let's say, last behavior in the chain of inheritance, right? So if I override the method within a class, like a class in the middle, an intermediary class, which is the case of the dog class here, then any class that extends the dog class is going to inherit the behaviors that are defined or overridden in the dog class. So now we could say pug.sniff, pug.move, right? And this should still behave as expected. Great. This is the, let's say, a very brief, gentle introduction to interfaces. There are some problems, and we will discuss a main problem of interfaces in the next video. But until then, I think here is a good time for us to make a little break. So if you're interested in receiving notifications every time I upload a new video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There is a lot of interesting content coming up, so you will get a notification every video when every video is uploaded to YouTube. And also, if you have any topic that interests you, make sure to write it down in the comments and to upvote comments from other people that you think are interesting as well, or suggestions from other people that you think are interesting as well. And I'll take those into consideration when planning future series in the channel. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.